But welcome to Wine Wednesday. I already have plenty of people that have joined the room. So tonight is open chat. We can talk about whatever you would like. I have a couple of things that I'm going to ask everybody who joins, but here we go. Let me make sure we're live here. All right. How is everyone tonight?
Go live.
Good.
I see Marina got in here too.
All right. I know she actually commented that she couldn't wait for tonight. So hope she's able to join. Hope everybody's able to join. It looks like we are live. Let me make sure here.
She has weird hour though, doesn't she? She's in Australia.
Yes. So right. I
Yeah.
know. Hi. Sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know whether she's 7 hours ahead or behind. I can never figure that out.
I think it's
We're
like
ahead, so it's 10 a.m. Thursday morning over here.
Okay, you're ahead of us. I guess with the rotation of the Earth, it has to be that way.
okay.
Yeah, mine doesn't always work right though.
All right. Hello, Harkins Aquatics. Looks like we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So, yay. All right, guys. As I said, tonight's open chat. But first, tell me, anybody got anything new going on with their seahorses or just in general that you wanted to chat about?
All my babies are doing great in the display tank.
Okay. And what, update us. What was the, did you change, you just set up a new something, right? Or are they just doing well?
These babies are 6 months old, and I had them in my nursery tank, which was on my kitchen counter. Not desirable.
Been there.
So they've been in just about a week or two, and they are doing fantastic.
Oh, that's so great. That is so great. And have you been able to, are they weaned and all of that onto frozen?
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's bravo, because that's what I always had the most trouble with. So very good job.
It was not easy. Lucy helped me a lot.
Lucy's amazing, and oh my gosh, she is so great at this stuff. So I'm so glad it's going well for you.
Thank you.
Holly, how about you?
Nothing really new. I haven't set up the new sump yet. I just ordered the pump for it and some extra filter socks. So I'm still a little bit down the road from that.
Gotcha. But still, everything's going well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the temperature, I mean, it's since I did the insulation that Dan told me about,
Yep.
it's actually keeping it down. It peaks out around 75 right now. And the house is getting up into the 80s, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's awesome that it's working for you. I'm so glad. Dan is awesome at giving us all these little tricks that help and work. I love it. Marina, anything new with you?
Nothing too new. We've just got the seahorses. I've still got some seahorses in quarantine, so hopefully they're out soon. Other than that, not too much new.
And they're in quarantine because they're new. Is that the reason?
They are new, but also they had a bacterial infection. I think Vibrio.
That's right. And so you've had success in treating?
In the first week to 2 weeks, there was a lot of improvement, and after that, there hasn't been much of an improvement. So I'm not actually sure. Like, some of them look completely better, but one still has patches of flesh that look paler than the rest of his flesh,
Okay.
and I'm not sure if he still has the infection or if he's got like scarring from it.
And they're all still eating, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you completed, I think you were I'm so sorry. I've had a terrible day, guys. I'm sorry if I'm getting things wrong, but if I'm remembering correctly, you used did you use triple sulfa and furon 2? Is that what you used to treat?
Yeah, so I dropped the temperature, used trisulfur furan 2, and also dropped the salinity.
Okay, and you completed that treatment like
Yeah. So
Okay.
um I've stopped using the medicine, but
Hmm.
the temperature is still lower and I've still got the slightly lower salinity. I'm still doing water 100% water changes every 2 days.
Nice. Okay. Well, I would love to see if you have a chance, maybe post a picture, if you get a chance, because I'd love to see. I know that I'll tell you this much: when my seahorses had a bacterial infection, it's been a while, but I actually had to go through two treatments. It's interesting that most of them look so much better. So if Dan joins, maybe he'll have some further thoughts on this. But I think you're smart to continue to watch and observe instead of just assuming they're okay. Ray, what are your thoughts on what she said?
Would you believe I was sitting here on YouTube reading, excuse me, reading about Archon Aquatics with a new copper band, and I was just sitting here typing out. I had no idea what you were saying.
Okay, I called you out. I'm not paying attention. Well, the question is, if you have treated for a bacterial infection in a hospital tank, your seahorses, and then at the end of the treatment, she used trisulfa and furon 2. At the end of the treatment, most of the seahorses look completely better, but one, maybe two, still look like they have a paler part of their body, which Dan has said multiple times. You know, that could just be coloration and etc. But what would you advise at that point if
I
someone was
treat
in?
again.
Okay,
I've had times where I've treated for 3 sessions.
yeah, that's what I said too. But in your like the only questionable thing that I'm worried or wondering about is all of the seahorses that look like they're completely better.
Uh, I don't trust it. If it's still evident with some of them, then I worry about some residual effects that are with the others that may not be showing. And I don't figure it's worth the chance. If they're okay in that hospital tank and accepting the treatment that's there and being fed fine and things are working out, there is no reason to rush it and take it out. Haste makes waste.
Gotcha. Well,
So for
and
me, I'd recommend.
go ahead.
I've got I'm just trying to figure out how to send it through. I've got a picture of how he was and how he is now.
Okay. Um, if okay, let's see. If you are you trying to share it now?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go down to the bottom of your screen, and if you turn the camera on and hit, or you may not even have to do that. If you hit screen share, which is the two boxes on top of each other, um, it should allow you to share. Is that making sense?
Turn on video share. Yes.
Okay.
Is that working?
Okay, maybe you have to turn on the camera to do it. Maybe.
Uh, sorry, give me a second.
No, that's okay.
If you click on it, it should say share your screen, and then the box that comes up, it'll say your entire screen, application window, Chrome tab. Well, for me, Chrome tab because I'm using Chrome. But I click on application window, and then I can put up anything. Like I have a Word page on the computer right now, and I have my email, and I also have this um, Chrome that's here. Now I can open
Oh,
up
okay.
another page.
Okay, she got it.
And, oh, there you are. You got it. You figured it out.
It's working.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so
Yep.
go explain what we're seeing.
So this is how he was when he was sort of um close to at his worst.
Sure.
And you can see actual patches, the white patches actually became holes in his skin.
Yep.
And this is how he is now. You can see sort of, I'll zoom in on the area, like there's still kind of bits that are a little bit white, and they've just kind of stayed like that for the last probably over a month.
Hmm.
Well, it takes a while to heal. It's you can cut yourself, and you can cut it in a fraction of a second, but that cut is not going to heal for weeks or longer. And it's the same thing with the seahorse. Their wounds, which the bacterial infection you had there, it is a wound, and it's definitely going to take a long time. And sometimes I think people take them out of the treatment too soon. They think just because it's getting better, a lot of people think that it's okay to take them out at that point. I think there has to be such a significant difference, or I leave them in and keep treating them.
So
I have treated for 3 sessions, and at the end of that time, they weren't completely healed, but I figured that at that point, the progression was doing well, and it was fast, or it was happening fast enough that I felt it was safe putting them back in, and at that point I did. I may have been okay to put them in after the second treatment, but it wasn't worth it to me to see a regression and then have to do it all over again.
risk it, right?
Like we have these cities that are having to shut down again because COVID come back again, because things were done long enough or soon enough, whatever. And so why should I put the seahorse through that again? Just an extra little period of time to do an extra treatment can make sure that things are going to turn out better.
There is an argument to be said about, over treating, over medicating. But in this particular case, I personally, oh gosh, it's such a tough one because oh my gosh, it's so tough. But
I wouldn't go beyond 3 times
what?
unless I wouldn't go beyond 3 sessions of treatment unless it was extreme case. And probably in a real extreme case, if they weren't healing up to my satisfaction after the 3rd set, I'd probably give it a week and see how it's going and wait that week before I treat again. Or maybe after that week, I wouldn't have to treat again. But I guess there's always the possibility in that week period, they could start going downhill again. And then I would put them through a 4th treatment without waiting any longer if it started getting bad again. If it starts getting bad again, it means that it's not a good sign, and you may lose them if you don't treat them again. So one way or the other, if you're going to lose them for treating or for not treating, I'd rather lose it for treating than for non-treating.
Well, right, but in her case, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like all the rest are doing so much better. You know what, Marina? Actually, if I was in your case, man, it's such a tough one because, and I know you're just sharing, and I think you're doing a good job as is, and you might be just fine with just, continuing to watch and observe and make sure. I think that I probably would treat a second time. Only because in my personal case, I did have to treat twice. Because exactly what Ray's saying and exactly what you're worried about, the fact that the one seahorse isn't completely better. I want to mention absolutely gorgeous seahorse. So pretty.
Thank you.
But either way, whatever you do decide, I really hope you'll update us because they're just beautiful. And, this is a tough problem. I actually wanted to talk about another issue that we have too, but yeah. So is your plan currently just to continue to observe and see how it goes?
Um, yeah, my plan is sort of, well, originally the plan was to make sure they're all 100% better and then move them to the display tank. But of course, the risk now is there's another 5 seahorses in there, and I don't want them to become infected.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just also sort of feel bad for these seahorses. It's been so long that they've been in quarantine for.
Sure. Do you
Are they
lady?
showing signs of it affecting them?
Pardon?
Are they showing signs that being in quarantine is affecting them? No, I don't mean for the healing aspect, but like their personality, or are they lagging on feeding, or are there any
They are
negative
still
signs you see?
they are still eating, but I don't think as much as they would be if they were in
Mm,
the proper tank. They have they've gained a little bit of weight, but really not a lot.
mm.
Nowhere near as much as say the other seahorses would in the main tank.
I think sometimes we worry about them more than what we should. Um, like you're worried about them being so long in the tank there, but in fact, it may not be bothering them at all. I guess we
Right.
just don't know unless they give some sign that they're problematic, like becoming lethargic when they're actually healing up from the infection, um, especially if they don't eat. But then if they don't eat, you still don't want to put them back until you do get them eating again.
Harkins.
Right.
I
Harkins.
probably had many times where I was worrying more than what the damn seahorses were.
Right, we all do. Harkins Aquatics asked, and I do see you talking about the copper band. Awesome, Harkins. Sorry. He asked, what do you have in the tank, in the quarantine tank for entertainment? Like, what is the setup? Is there anything in there at all? Or
So it's just an air stone and plastic hitches.
okay, but they do have the plastic hitches. Um, I don't know what kind of entertainment you'd put in. And hitches is what they need and desire, so I think that's great. Um, any other questions, Harkins? Any suggestions for entertainment for them? They're not hamsters. They don't run in wheels. But excuse me. No, I. Do you other ladies have any thoughts on this one?
Nope, I've never had to treat anybody so far, knock on wood.
As long as, I mean, I would expect them not to eat quite as much
Mhm.
when they're in the hospital tank.
Hmm.
But as long as they're maintaining their weight and maybe not losing weight, I think I would be okay with it.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. That's a good way to look at it too.
Well, I do know that we've all got our fingers crossed for you, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, please, please, please let them be great. So definitely update us. You ultimately have to make the decision whether to, risk it or treat again. And, it's a tough one. I absolutely understand the pain of trying to figure that out. I think that I probably would. Um, because of the fact that of the one that's still looking, but that the picture really you know looked like it was on the mend. So yeah, just let us know what you decide and how it
I
How many
goes.
days of actual treatment have they gone through?
so they've been in quarantine since May, mid-May,
But you
and I
haven't been
only
treating
stopped
them all that time, have you?
I only stopped treating them 2 weeks ago, with a few days of breaks in between.
Okay, so it's been like 2 weeks since they've been medicated, and has the seahorse continued to improve, like, or stayed the same or whatever, not gotten worse
So all that improvement between like those photos, pretty much all of that happened in the first 2 weeks.
when you were treating? Okay. Huh.
Yeah, and so I was doing a week of treating, a day or two break, and then another week of treating, and then a day or two break. So they've been through that cycle quite a lot of times.
Okay, and the medication though, was for, if I remember correctly, it's a 2 week period, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you just finished it up. And then as soon as you stopped treating, the seahorse didn't get worse, but didn't get any better.
that's right. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, I personally think that I would do another round of treatment just to be sure. That's
Do another round.
that's my thought. I really wish Dan. I don't know where Dan's at. I wish he would pipe in, but
Also, could it be possible that the white that you still see from the wound, will they get a scar and maybe never look quite the same?
I'll tell
I've
you.
never seen
Like,
that.
did that
Yeah,
happen with seahorses or no?
my seahorses had the exact same thing that she's describing, where their skin turned white and splotches, and then it literally. I don't want to be gross on TV here, guys, but like it turned into holes. Put it that way. They were losing
Yeah.
skin, and when my seahorses healed, and I did go through two treatment sets, they looked completely back to normal. Actually,
Gotcha.
the
So
one
no scars then. They don't scar from that.
at least not in my case. That's why I have the worry, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because yeah, mine looked completely back to normal once the treatment was over. So you know,
The only permanent thing I've ever seen as a result is when the tail end rots off, and it just doesn't grow back again. But it it's a stubby end on it, and if you didn't know it was longer, and by looking at it, it wouldn't have given you any idea that it should be longer. So
sure.
it just heals up.
Sure, and there's so many different things, but just the fact that it's Vibrio or Vibrio, however you want to pronounce it, and it's the exact same thing that I went through. I'm just that's my personal 2 cents. You got to make that choice for yourself, but I totally feel your pain because it's really tough to determine whether to put them back in or treat again. And I understand you're worried about keeping them in quarantine, and that's why I'm saying like you know, I would just personally go ahead and treat again just to be sure, and then put them in the display. That's my thoughts on it. But definitely,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'll yeah, I think I will treat again. But I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, especially with that because it's awful to watch them go through that. Actually, I had definitely keep us updated. I had a question on a video, guys. Have any of you experienced with your seahorses GBD, gas bubble disease?
Yes,
Okay, Ray.
long time ago.
Sure. And there's quite a bit of mystery around this because literally we still don't know what causes it. Many believe it's organics in the tank getting too high. There are a lot of theories, and I do have a video on it talking about all those. But if someone's dealing with GBD, first of all, it depends on whether we're talking about pouch emphysema. Some people include that, even though it's actually different. And then, of course, the bubbles in their tails. And I did deal with the bubbles in the tails myself. Ray, what did you do for GBD in your seahorses? How did you treat? What did you do?
Well, it was probably, I'm guessing now, but probably about 15 years ago. And it's funny that you're talking about it right now. I just happen to have sitting on the counter here my treatment.
Let me make you big.
Acetazolamide.
Wait, show
It's
it again.
acetazolamide.
Oh, let me get you up here. There we go.
I
Maybe.
don't know whether.
Okay. There.
There we go.
There we go. Sorry, guys. Takes me a minute. Okay, and that is the
That's
common
Diamox.
common term is Diamox, right? And
Yeah, this isn't the Diamox brand, but this is the drug that it is. It's the generic acetazolamide. And I bought that at the time. And it was my pharmacist got it for me. And the 250 milligram tablets, I've got 100 of them, cost me $12 and something. In the States, it would probably cost you less. But the thing is, it's the kind of drug that doesn't really go bad. It doesn't lose much potency, so I can keep it long term. But at the time, I crushed up. I think one tablet. It's hard to remember now.
Sure, I'll just mention.
Somewhere on my computer, I have written down the dosage, the actual dosage, but I think I did one 250 milligram tablet and dissolved it in water, put it in the hospital tank, heavy aeration, open-ended airline, and of course have the hitching there for them and so on. And I can't actually remember now how many treatments I did it. I think I treated each one a session of 5 days. And
I
know
believe that's right.
I did it more than one session, but I don't know exactly how many at this point.
Sure, and I'll mention. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that the actual instructions on on dosing and etc. are in Seahorse Sources group in the file section. If not, I'll make sure they get there.
On the org for sure.
It's on seahorse.org for sure. Is that what you said?
Seahorse.org, and many years ago, Ann put up a page with all sorts of medical treatments, the protocols to use for each of the different medicines. So it's so easy just to go get her. I don't know what you want to put the post that she put up on it.
Yeah, well, maybe, hey Ray, maybe when we're done, you could like share it in the group, or if you can find it, or I'll look. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's in the file section. The difficult part, though, too, is I had hoped that the person that asked the question on the video, I actually invited them to come tonight. Probably didn't. Whatever, they're not here. So hopefully they do get to see this. But unfortunately, if that person lives in the U.S., I know that when my seahorses got GBD, which were little bubbles on the tip of their tail, and it just turned into these. It was awful. But we're not able to get Dimox. You can't just go buy it. You have to have a vet prescribe it. And because, we don't, in my area, we don't have exotic vets, and I don't currently have fur babies, so I didn't have a vet like that I knew. They just, they weren't willing to just write me a prescription, somebody that, wasn't their client or whatnot. So it was really difficult. And I know that I dealt with this actually 2 different times. With 2 different seahorses, and the first time I literally could not get Dimox, and so I ended up treating with the same thing that I used for Vibrio, triple sulfa and Furon 2, and it did work for that seahorse. However, it could have been just because I was doing such frantic water changes. It could have been the medication. Dan has actually talked about, literally seeing them heal from GBD just with really great, really clean water out of the display tank in a hospital tank. But so I don't know for sure that it was the medication. But then the second time, I believe it was Lucy or someone that sent me Dimox, and it was amazing how well it worked. It was just incredible to watch these bubbles literally like deflate in front of your eyes. It was, and you're so worried about the seahorses, and yeah, so if you get your hands on Dimox, that's the way to go for sure. But if you see this later, definitely message me or whatever, and I can, help you out in any way possible. But Dimox, definitely. And Ray, do you say something? Do you give a different instruction when we're talking about pouch emphysema? Do you use Dimox in the situation of pouch emphysema?
I've used it, but I can't say it was any more successful. I prefer to use the Furon 2.
Really? Okay, and guys,
I mix them up,
and
I put it in with the cannula, the syringe and the cannula. I open up the pouch with a bobby pin, and I flush it first of all with the water. And normally, like, I'm not going to even use the medication if I can treat it just with the pouch flushing at first.
Right.
But if it's something that's persistent, it's not going away, and I have to keep on doing it, then I'll use the medication. The last time here was just recently, and I don't have any furan left anymore, but I just happen to have had, oh, no, I can't get it out of my skull here. That, the medicine you dab on,
Bio bandage or whatever it's.
bio bandage.
Yeah.
And so I mixed the bio bandage with a tiny bit of salt water and sucked it up in the syringe. And again, put it in the same way, using the cannula into the pouch and squirted in until it filled the pouch and it overflowed the pouch. Put it back in, and I haven't had any problems since.
I should have said before we started discussing this, guys, from the very beginning, I think I said GVD is gas bubble disease, and it's typically when the seahorse gets like bubbles on typically on its tail. And then pouch emphysema happens in the male seahorses where their pouch it looks like they're pregnant and they can't swim well, and they usually end up at the top of the tank. Literally like a balloon. They're at the top, they can't swim down very well, and etc. And what Ray just described is, perfectly, he described it very well, where you literally have to flush the pouch with a syringe to get that gas and air out of the pouch, so that they can swim again.
It's my theory that they're both caused by the same thing, but conditions of the water, but and I suspect it's bacterial,
Mm-hmm.
and the bacteria can affect internal too. And I think with the bubbles, it affects something, I don't know, the liver, the kidneys, or whatever, and that internal chemistry is screwed up, and they end up with the gas bubbles on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Diamox works faster because it works on the kidney or whatever, on the organ that's the problem.
Sure.
But I also think that the furan works, and furan, especially with trisulfa with it, in that it kills off the bacteria, which I think in terms of, how do I say this? If you're taking care of that bacteria, it's going to take care of it internally as well.
Sure.
But it's going to take longer. And once you get rectified the bad bacteria internally, then the organ recovers and it stops producing those bubbles.
Totally.
Theory.
Totally. No, I actually really agree with that theory. I think you're absolutely correct. And females, by the way, can get it too. And it's worse when a female gets it because they literally blow up just their stomach. Like they don't have a pouch, but they'll just get really, it's terrible. Internal GBD is the worst and hardest to treat. And you don't see that very much anymore. I actually saw someone say that they hadn't seen it in years, because of the fact that people are keeping their tanks cleaner, just like what Ray was describing. Whoops, lost my earpiece. What Ray was describing, that he believes that it's based on the tank. Have you ever had it occur, Ray? And anybody, I don't mean to just talk to Ray here, guys. We'll switch the subject in a second. I just wanted to make sure we discuss this for the listener. But Ray, have you ever had the situation where you take the seahorses out to treat, you get them better, and then, what I'm trying to get at is, what do we need to do something to the display tank to make sure we're not putting them back in the same environment so they get it again? Or do you think...
Unless you're doing something like I have done, where you drop a seahorse and then afterwards something happens to it, that it's probably due to what you've dropped them or something. But if they get gas bubble disease, or if they get the erosion, any bacterial signs at all, that's the first thing that tells me that my tank conditions aren't right.
Right.
And you can't test for all the conditions that are affecting them, especially for things like the pouch emphysema and so on. Anything bacterial, they're going to feed on the dissolved organics. They just thrive in that condition when the organics get high. And then if the temperature is up above 74, they multiply at a much faster rate. So the thing is, anytime I've had a problem with a seahorse, it makes me look to find out, have I done anything recently that could have done that, or has it been a long-term collectively um, degrading over a period of time because maybe say 2 weeks doing a water change and cleaning isn't enough, and I need to get it more often, or maybe I have to do a more frequent one, plus do a larger change at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've gone through a lot of different evolutions over the 18 years,
Sure.
and at the moment now, I do extreme uh, cleaning and water changes because it's easier for me to do once um, every 10 or 12 days than to do partials, say, every week.
Sure.
And it's just a personal thing. Like, it doesn't matter what your protocol is as long as it works.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
enough of the problem, it's the first thing that's telling you your protocol is not sufficient.
Right. I cannot agree any more than I'm like just nodding crazy. Absolutely. When something does, and it's a credit to seahorse keepers today and to the captive breeding movement and etc. That we don't have all these problems as much these days. You don't hear about it as much. Many of the people, even in this chat right now, are watching this, have not had any problems because we've upped the game as far as caring for seahorses. There's a lot more information available, these groups, etc., where we talk about how to feed, how to make sure there's not leftovers, how to, care for the tank, how important maintenance is. And I guess the only point that I was trying to make, which Ray just made very well, is that while the seahorses are in treatment, I think that it helps that they're not in the tank. Like maybe that does cause the bacteria to die down a little bit, but definitely up the game. Do some water changes, fix the display because it is a clear sign that something's not right. Might not even be your fault, but you gotta look at it and fix it. Wanted to say, Kim, hey, I see you switched. No worries, you guys can jump in and out of this anytime you want. And in case for the YouTube folks, what we're using currently is a Facebook room in Seahorse Sources group. I should have talked about that a little more, and I will post something to make sure on YouTube in the community section just to make sure you guys know how to get in. Make sure to do that from now on. We had trouble for a couple weeks, but we're back in the game. And Harkins made the point, could dosing good bacteria to the tank help with what you're talking about? I really actually agree with that because if you're looking at a bacterial infection in the tank, you've got your seahorses in treatment in a quarantine tank. It definitely couldn't hurt. I'm not sure. It depends on. There's so many bacteria, guys. I don't know if it would outweigh good versus bad, but it certainly couldn't hurt. And that's a great suggestion. So definitely, anybody who watches this later, comment, let us know if you've experienced these kind of problems and what worked for you. And if there's anything, that you could add to what we've talked about so far, because we definitely don't want to see any seahorses not doing well. And Kim, although the final thing I wanted to say is he's got this down pat now. You actually can be in the room and watch YouTube at the same time. No worries if you want to do either or, but you just have to make sure
I
to
just have a
mute.
different tab.
Yeah, a different tab, but you have to make sure to mute YouTube or it like echoes back all crazy. So jumping back and forth is fine. And let's see. Harkins said, blah, 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 blah. I use an aquatic doser on koi ponds to stop bacterial blooms due to nutrient issues. Right. Aquatic doser. Right. Gotcha. Nice. Agree. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to jump from this to that. All right. Anything else that you guys want to say about that, or we can curve the conversation whichever way you want. Open chat tonight, guys. Are there any other issues that you guys see people having often? Or nope? Okay. Well, that's
I don't get in contact with too many people anymore because around here in Canada, like you just don't have many people keeping seahorses. They're so hard to come by anymore. Um, when I was selling them, I had a store here that would ship them for me because the couriers wouldn't deliver them for me.
mm,
So the store was doing it, and he was shipping them all over Canada for me. Now, mind you, he took a cut off of it, and that's the way it went. But the thing is now, um, I supplied the startup seahorses for Seahorse Canada, but then he ran into problems, and he's been looking for a new brood stock now and can't find it. So basically, they're at the mercy of just the LFSs that get import stuff from places like Taiwan or wherever,
mm.
uh, Philippines, Korea, and the quality is very lacking. And of course, because it comes from the LFS, 99% of them don't know anything about keeping seahorses properly. So people get the seahorses and they promptly die on them.
Mm.
So I don't see much anymore around now that I'm not selling. But I have a weird problem now. It's not a common one. If you recall, I lost a leather.
Right, right.
Okay,
Bingo.
and you know my water changes are large and extreme. Like basically, I'm doing 90 to 95% water changes every 10, 12 days,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done two complete water changes like that since that coral died. I have worse algae problem now, more of that purple crap growing all over it and all over the glass than I did before when the damn thing was dying.
Wow.
Huh.
And I have
What
no idea why.
do you ladies think that maybe the massive water changes are messing with the good? Hey, Ray, actually, before I even ask the ladies, do you dose bacteria at all? Good bacteria?
Uh, I haven't at this point. I have the McF downstairs, but I haven't used that on anything since I stopped doing the fry.
Well, right. Mike F like is probiotics. I mean, like startup, like good bacteria. Like here we have Dr. Tim's.
McF, the McF is the probiotic.
Right. So you don't use any like Dr. Tim's or Fritz
So I
startup.
don't even have access to it.
Okay. Well, ladies, what are your thoughts? Do you think maybe the massive water changes are messing with the bacteria, or what do you think?
Possibly. I think it sounds like the tank might be cycling again.
No,
And I had that happen here. We had a huge fire that burned down the whole town. We were evacuated for close to 3 weeks.
Yikes.
And during that time, all the fish in my saltwater tank died. Now, what's interesting is when I returned and the power came back on, turns out that the aquarium had partially cycled itself again while that was going on. The power came back on, I think probably close to a week before we were allowed to come home.
Mm.
So everything came back on and it just started doing its thing again. So levels were different, they were off. All the fish died, but like the purple, chloramine or
Mm-hmm.
chlorine algae, I can't think of the right word for it, that was growing. And I mean, some things kind of made it, but it was like it kind of started itself over.
well, I have
Okay.
no cyclone again, or I'd have had seahorses in trouble because
Yeah.
seahorses, even at 0.05, seahorse gills get burned,
Yeah.
the ammonia,
Well, but how often are you doing water changes?
every 10, 12 days,
Okay, no, that's right. All right. So,
90 to 95%.
yeah. Nope. Yeah, I that's probably, I don't know. I honestly, anybody in the audience,
Yeah.
I do see you guys talking. We're going to go to your questions in just a second, but You guys have any thoughts on that one? Because yeah, that's you got me stumped because this is not a new tank. You haven't had this problem before. All of a sudden, the softy died, and now you're having and it's killing me. I was actually literally trying to look it up. Not coralline. You're not talking about coralline algae, right? You're talking about,
Yeah, you know, the purple stuff, purple
Yeah,
algae.
but I'm trying to
this,
think.
it looks like Coraline, but it's not.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
you can rub it off, unless it's been there for a while. And then if it's been there for a while, you have to razor blade it, but it's still not,
Mhm.
but how do I say it? Calcareous like
Okay.
Coraline is.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but it looks just like it.
I'm like,
Huh.
I'm okay. I'm gonna ask in the audience because this is killing me. It's such a common term. I can't think of the dang name of it. In our reef tanks and etc. What is the red, green, etc.
Cyan.
Cyano. Thank you. I was.
Cyanobacteria
I
you're
couldn't.
talking about?
Yes, I could not think of the darn word. Thank you, Marina.
So it was on the tip of my tongue for a minute as well, and I was just like, I know this word.
yes, that's I've been like literally googling what in the heck. But
Yeah.
what's your
I
what's your
do have a little bit of cyano, but that's altogether different, and
sure?
that hasn't
Yeah.
gotten worse.
Okay.
Uh, the cyano is the same. It grows on that. I don't know if you remember, Kelly. I sent you pictures of the red mackerel that I had,
Yes.
uh, and the cyano will grow on that.
Really?
And
Okay.
when I do
Hmm.
my water changes, I just shove the hose over it and suck it off. Or if it's on too hard for that, then if it's bothering me, then I'll cut it off. Um, but to me, it's not a problem. It doesn't grow anywhere else. It's only on the coral there.
Sure.
And
I always try to tell people the beautiful macro tank that everybody says, how'd you do that, etc. I'm like, guys, no, really. There was cyano all the time. There was all sorts of bad stuff. I had to take care of it constantly. No, I get it. But it you have to keep up with it and do the maintenance because or it doesn't look right. Okay, I made my point. Anyhow, Marina, do you have any thoughts on? I mean, because my worry here is the fact that the softy died. Like we're not just talking about okay, he's all of a sudden got some algae problems. Actually, okay, he just left. I was gonna ask him. I think this is the tank with the algae scrubber on it too. So I'll ask him when he gets back. But um, I'm just concerned because obviously the seahorses are still doing well. So um, I guess that's what matters. But it's concerning that a coral died and then now he's having all these problems. Any thoughts, Marina?
Um, well, has anything else died, or is it just the one leather?
Just the one leather. I mean, we'll ask him when he gets back, but I'm pretty sure it's just the one leather.
I think so.
And are there many other leathers or corals in the same tank?
Good question. We'll ask. Is he back? I think he's back. Ray.
well, just for a second, I'm back. I'm feeding the seahorses. 9 o'clock's their last feeding.
Okay. Well,
So,
no, it's okay.
I have a big what do you call it? King tree. I have that plus a couple macros. It's almost like a bubbly form of mackerel, and then the other one's a stringy type of red. Both them were pictures that I sent to you before,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and you thought they were both in the same family.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the Kenya tree is way bigger than the leather was, but it's probably in its open stage right now, 10, 12 inches across.
Wow.
They're very big.
So, yeah, about 10 or 12 inches in diameter. Um,
Since that's still doing well,
yeah, and the macro's doing well as well.
is that what you were kind of getting at, Marina? Not too scary if everything else is.
Yes. So, um, the other things aren't being sort of badly affected. So, do you think maybe it was just an infection on the one coral? Leathers can get bacterial infections, or there are some pests. that eat leathers?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that about the leather.
Sorry, I said, do you think it's possible that that one leather just had a bacterial infection or a pest, and maybe
Well,
that's why you lost just the one?
I actually don't know because over the years, like I've had leathers since January of oh, 94, and I've never ever seen one die.
Hmm.
I've sold so many of those things over my years. Uh, like uh, I just can't believe that you can kill them off, and
Right.
yet this one died on me, and there was nothing I could do to get it to recover.
Huh.
Anyway, I got to go downstairs, feed the downstairs now, get the abs fed.
Uh,
I got to
okay.
head to the bar. I'll be
All right.
back.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm really kind of stumped on it. I think maybe Marina's right that it was just a problem with that one. So.
Mhm.
And Nicole in the audience, hello. And I wanted to say hi to Chimp. Always hi to Chimp. Sorry, I didn't see that before. But Nicole asked if any of you guys have experience with Vibrant for algae. Does anyone use Vibrant?
Mm-mm.
We can't actually get it here,
Really?
but I've heard that it's like the miracle cure for hair algae and all sorts of things.
Yep, I've heard mixed reviews. I actually started a video series trying, using Vibrant, and I'll be completely honest with you guys. I started it out. I did see some improvement. Then I realized that I had my skimmer was broke, and so kind of like the purpose of the thing, like if you're killing off algae but you're not removing it, I kind of thought of it as like a harvesting thing. Like if you have a sump and you don't harvest the algae, it's not going to work. So I kind of did away with the experiment and just did something else once I got a new skimmer. So I don't have an actual opinion on that, but I've heard many people have had really good success using Vibrant. So I would definitely not say to not get it, but I just can't approve it myself. What
I've never used it. I've read about it and decided not to use it, really.
what'd you read?
Kind of I just kind of stay away from putting any additives that I can, honestly, and just try to use my mechanical filtration and a lot of water changes and just to not screw stuff up. Like you were saying, kind of, if you do this, then you have to do that. Or what if you put too much in, or, that kind of thing.
Sure. No, I mean, going it the natural way and just trying to continue to fix the problem is definitely always the best way. But I do also understand why people get frustrated. Nicole, we haven't talked in a while. I don't think your tank is new. I would especially say don't use any kind of chemicals on a new tank because they have to go through the cycle. And if you're messing with that, that's gonna because there's the biological cycle, etc., or nitrogen cycle, and then there's the algae cycle. To me, it's there's 6 steps, not 3. So and you don't want to mess with any of them. But once you've got a completely established tank that's been through all the cycling and etc., then you get the algae. I completely understand that that's so tough. But as we were saying earlier about diseases or bacterial problems, when you do get algae in a tank that's very established, you've had it for a couple of years, whatever, that's kind of a sign that something's up, you know. So go ahead. Oh, I thought you were going to say something, Holly. Sorry. But so, it's kind of a sign that something's up. So trying to fix the root issue is typically better than using a chemical because then, it'll just come back because you're not really fixing what the problem is. That being said, I definitely am a person who doses good bacteria to tanks, and I do use products for sure to make sure things are going well. So yeah, that was a really long explanation. Sorry, guys.
I can add this real quick. One thing I found that really does work, you have to kind of be careful how you use it and how much. But I use peroxide to clean like things in the tank when I'm cleaning the tank. And if I have like a artificial plant or something that needs cleaning, I'll soak it in hydrogen peroxide and rinse it off. I do that with the food dish too. And it keeps the algae from growing back.
Right.
I
Right.
love peroxide for that. You just can't, it's not something you dump in the tank, but you can treat with it for the algae. And
Sure. No, I use peroxide too. Hey, Harkins is hi Sam. Welcome, welcome. Guys, if you guys have had an experience with Vibrant, definitely give your thoughts, opinions, if it's worked for you. Because, I'm just kind of trying to cover all sides of the coin here. I think we're echoing now. I don't know why. But, anyways, hello, Sam. I'm actually, guys, getting ready to call it. I'm so tired tonight. So I'm so sorry I'm seeing you guys join. And okay, wait, we are echoing really badly. Are we echoing to you guys? Let me know. And Harkin says, all I will say is that slow is much better than fast with Vibrant. Huh. That's confusing to me. What does that mean? Do it. What do you mean by that? I don't know what that means. And Nicole, you've tried peroxide? Okay, that's really odd that you've tried peroxide, you've tried other things, and it's still not working. What's the algae you're having trouble with? I'm curious. I know we've talked about this before. I'm sorry. I'm so terrible with memory stuff. But okay, Harkin said, don't add a lot fast. Got it. Okay. Oh, did you have an issue with adding a lot fast? I'm curious. Okay, and Sam's on her way to work. That's why she didn't join us, and it's not mad at me that I'm getting ready to shut it down for the night. Good. But yeah, let's see. Hair algae, you said? Oh gosh, that's the worst. I hate that stuff. Actually,
yeah.
um, hmm. I mean, I would say, Nicole. Oh, it's so echoey in my ear. I would personally, Ray, do you have any thoughts? I know you can't get Vibrant, you didn't use it. Someone actually mentioned above too that
With
it's,
hair algae, first thing I say is there's too much nutrient in the tank and you got to change your protocol.
so more water changes. But I know it's so frustrating, especially once it's there.
Cleaning.
Yeah. And Nicole, just out of curious, you said you use peroxide. You've actually dosed the tank and tried to individually target the areas with peroxide, and it didn't kill it. That's incredible to me. No lower nutrients, upflow, right? Ray is correct, right? You've pulled and removed so much everything in the tank. It's happy. It's just annoying. Oh man, I feel you. I personally had in my reef tank, I had a rock that I had the same issue. No matter what I did, the rest of the tank was beautiful, no problems anywhere else, but this one rock just constantly looked like crap and had some sort of algae on it. And what someone ended up telling me is that particular rock was likely, like, because I had used live rock on my reef, and they ended up instructing me that it was there was actually phosphate within the rock, and it was leaching out. And so I personally ended up taking the rock out. If you're talking about the whole tank, obviously you can't do that. Just a thought, food for thought here, because boy, I know that's so frustrating. I mean, I don't think there would be any, problem with trying Vibrant. I just obviously nobody here's used it with success, so I can't really.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. Directly in
To
salt
me, it
water.
sounds like
Right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read comments too. Harkin said you can treat with peroxide directly in salt water with a syringe. Right. That's kind of what I was asking. Is whether or not she had already tried that, because it usually instantly kills hair algae, especially phosphate remover, because everything was zero. Well, yeah. The other thing about phosphate, I actually did a video. I actually did a video about this too. With phosphate, I don't know why it's so echoey, guys. I'm sorry. With phosphate, some of some tests don't test there's like two types. I won't get into all the ridiculous sciencey stuff, but sometimes you can have phosphates and it's not detected by the test. I know that's really confusing, but to algae using it. Sam also mentioned, right, exactly. And also it can register 0 because the algae is taking up the phosphate. So the test shows 0, but there's actually a bunch, it's just being utilized. I put that, go ahead, Marina.
It's important as well if you physically remove the algae. Sorry, if you um, say scrub the algae off the rocks or whatever to physically remove it, because otherwise it breaks back down into exactly what a hair algae needs to grow or what any kind of algae needs to grow.
Right. Yeah, and Nicola said she'll just keep trucking. I'm sorry, with these tanks, there's usually not like a quick fix. I find that the quick fixes just put you right back in the same position later. Harkins did say that they use Vibrant all the time. It works okay, but try and keep levels to a point where you don't need it. Right? I think at 9-month-old tank, you just keep trucking. Don't give up. It will go away. You'll get there, I promise. It's frustrating. Oh man, I know. But I bet your tank is beautiful. And what's a little algae? Like, hey, in my macro tank, I was dealing with algae all the time. I mean, the bad kinds. Um, yeah. I think we've talked before. I think
We
you,
use emerald crabs, and they actually help a lot.
oh yeah,
They'll eat it. An emerald crab, a couple little ones in there, that'll help out.
definitely.
While you're.
I can't believe we didn't think I hadn't mentioned that. Definitely up your
That's what I
cleanup crew.
use. They help me break out.
Yep. Up your cleanup crew. Very good point. Um, okay, guys. She's gonna keep trucking. And was there anything else you guys wanted to discuss? I'm so tired tonight, guys. I'm sorry. Huh?
Did you solve my problem while I was off feeding?
No, we didn't. I'm sorry. I tend to think that Marina's on the right track in your case. I think that with that the softie had its own personal little issue because of the fact that the other ones don't have an issue. As far as the algae growing, yeah, I'm gonna tell you just like Nicole, keep trucking. Oh, Ray, I did want to ask you though, is this the tank with the scrubber attached?
Yep. And there's no appreciable growth there again. I remember I used to get lots on there, and I
Yep.
used to, every time I did a water change, like every 10 or 12 days, then I would have to clean it.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably haven't had to clean it now for, I'm guessing maybe 3 months.
When's the last time you changed the lighting on the scrubber?
It's never been changed.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
probably only a year old. It's LED lighting. It doesn't deteriorate that fast.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just a thought because I've had that happen to me before because the light, but you're using LED, so it's probably not the case. Yeah, no. Let me think on it, and maybe maybe I'll have your solution next week. Probably not. Don't cross your fingers. But anybody, I'm just checking the audience one more time. Cleanup crew does not remove nutrients, but it just hides. Harkins made a good point that cleanup crew, they're still gonna, they're regurgitating the nutrients. They're not really fixing the problem. Correct. We still have to up our game in water changes to actually remove. Or like if you have a scrubber, harvest the algae. It's very interesting to me. Anybody in the audience have a thought on that? What Ray's talking about, I kind of rushed through it, but basically he's got a scrubber on the tank. It was doing really great for a long time. Then all of a sudden it doesn't seem to have much algae on it. Yet he's getting it in the tank now. My first thought again,
It's a different algae.
right?
It's that purple stuff, and like it's not what do you call it, filamentous, or is that the proper word?
I think
So like the bubble algae stuff.
No, it's just like coralline, except it's not coralline.
Wow. Interesting.
yeah.
Maybe you have a new species.
And in the tank, other than that little bit of cyano that's on that mackerel, the only algae there is that purple coralline look. There
Huh.
isn't anything else. There's no green, nothing like that at all.
Maybe you have something new.
I was gonna say you might want to sell it, harvest it.
Preserve it, take
Yeah,
it to
but
a
it looks fine
scientist.
on the rock, but it doesn't look fine on the glass.
Oh, yeah.
Take it to a university near you, have it identified.
Marina, were you
Something
trying?
different.
We're landlocked here, so it's only freshwater stuff they deal with.
Oh,
Okay, Keith.
too bad.
Scrubber. Do you think that because you're doing such big, 95% water changes and so many of them, is it possible that maybe you took out so much of the nitrate and phosphate that the algae in the algae scrubber didn't actually have enough to grow anymore?
But the thing was, I'd been doing this for years before I put the scrubber on there. And things really didn't change. When I put the scrubber on, it was basically an experiment. And for a while, I did have to harvest and harvest a lot, and then it stopped. But as far as algae in the tank, growing in the tank, it never made any difference there.
Well,
Okay.
is it algae or is it more like a cyanobacteria that's maybe being
No,
caused?
it's an
Something
algae.
completely-
I have a little bit of that cyano on the mackerel, but this purple stuff is definitely an algae.
Okay, really.
Cyano is very soft and flimsy, and you can blow it around. Direct a power head at it, and you can blow it all over the tank. But with this purple stuff that looks like coralline, there's no way you're getting it off without rubbing it.
It's hard. Yeah.
Okay. Well, really quick, I just wanted to. I know you want to say something, Marina. Sorry. Keith said change the lighting period on the scrubber, but he's got LED lighting. Are you not supposed to be able to not have to change that? It's not. I said that too first. Actually, that was my first thought. And chemically not going out.
Great, you end up with a different spectrum, and some spectrums are going to grow the algae better than others. So if you start off with one that's doing a good job, then and eventually degrades, then it's not going to do as much. But with the LED, it'll take a long time for it to degrade. It won't degrade in a year's time.
I'm so. I heard you. Unfortunately, this is starting to echo really badly. I'm not sure if it's just because we've been going for quite a while or what. But Keith, I'm just reading from the comments. Keith also said it sounds like diatoms. Harkin said there's not enough nutrients in the tank for the scrubber to work. Also, could be bacterial deficiency. Is it echoing to you guys too? No.
Every once in a while, start getting some
Yeah.
stuff in there. It sounds like somebody's got the radio on or something.
Background noise.
Okay. Marina, I wanted to give you a chance because I know you were trying to speak and I overspoke you. So.
Oh no, that's okay. It was just I was sort of thinking the same thing, if there not being enough nutrients for the algae in the scrubber to grow. But this new weird purple algae might just not need as much to grow. It might just be tougher.
Yeah. Good point. And Ray, I'm just curious, what is the spectrum of lighting that you have on the scrubber?
To be honest with you, I forget now.
Okay, because you're absolutely right. It does matter.
That's recommended.
Okay. Well,
The
yeah.
red goes faster than any of the other colors, but there's a particular band in there, and I can't remember for sure just what it is now.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm. Chimp said there is a little echo, and sorry, I meant dinos. If you remove too much bacteria, you
It's
get
not
dinos.
dino.
It's not dinos.
No.
All right. Well, you know what, Ray? since this is echoing so bad, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call this for tonight. But I'm going to make the effort. Send me a picture, Ray, in message or what, or email, whatever you want. Send me a picture of it, and I'm gonna do my research and come back to y'all with my thoughts next week. How's that sound? I can't
Okay.
even think tonight. But Holly, I'm sorry we didn't get much to you tonight. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, we appreciate you guys coming every week. It's great. And Marina, we're so glad to have you back. Um, anything else that you want to add? Anybody? It's
Just
really.
out of curiosity, does Marina live anywhere near Sam?
Pardon?
Do
Do you
you?
live anywhere near Sam Banfield?
No, nowhere near. So I'm in Victoria.
I'm sorry, you're which?
No, I'm in Melbourne.
Okay, yeah, I don't even remember where she is now. I never remember anything. Like I had enough trouble when Kim was on here to start tonight. I had to ask her first name again because I keep forgetting.
Try running this thing, Ray. I'm the same way, and I'm terrible. I feel so terrible when I'm like, oh, right, what was your problem again? I hate it because I'm gone. But anyways, okay, well, guys, I am gonna call it for tonight. This gal is going to get a good night's sleep for once. But I really appreciate everybody coming. I really appreciate everybody in the comments. And let's all do our. As soon as Ray sends me a picture, I'll try to, maybe even post it for you guys or something, and we'll all try to research and help him. And Marina,
Yeah.
please keep us
And I just
updated.
happen to have the camera right here.
All right, good deal. And
Thank you right behind me.
Marina, keep us updated on your seahorses, and I've got every finger crossed over here. I really have good feelings for you, though. I think it's going to work out. But okay, guys. Well, everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Happy Wine Wednesday, everybody. See you next week. Cheers.
Kelly.